Okay, so I figured just go and play the solo right off the bat that I'm going to be teaching today. If you like it, stick around and I'll break it down. You'll be able to download the tab for all of it. This will include the fingering underneath it that I use, including in some spots options, the names of the arpeggios, and the keys it's in. I bracketed. It changes keys and sometimes it's not really in a key, but it's basically in B flat, C minor for a little bit, and C major for a little bit, and then subsections that really don't fit that well into any one key. I'm going to go ahead and play it slow, and I'll talk about some specific parts on it. So I wrote this as, when I started writing it, I basically write through improvisation. I wrote it with the idea of trying to do some arpeggios I don't normally use in my improvising or my videos. Some more bitonal, a lot of, combining different ones together to create different fingerings for altered or extended arpeggios or such. I'll put some links up in the corner for if you're interested in more details on some of that. But anyways, I'll go ahead and play through it slow first. I'm not going to talk through every arpeggio, but the first one it starts off with, I basically sign from E to an F, which if I'm thinking of F as the root, then that's the major 7 from it. But then I go into a minor, F minor arpeggio, and then ending on the major 7 again. So the F minor major 7 is basically what it is. Then I switch from that major 7 to F major. Then coming back down here, using an augmented triad combined with a major triad, then shifting up into a major triad with another major triad. And then I'm going to be going, and on that last one, I actually hit this note twice. Then we use 2 major triads, basically the same 2 as just using here, but at wider distance. So when I put them together in that second position, it basically analyzes into like a D flat 11 arpeggio. But now I'm just going to do a straight C major because I'm just going from a C major to another C major instead of the D flat to B major. Just 2 G major ones. Not really in any one key here now, because I'm going from like an F minor to E minor, which is only half step apart, and then into like a minor flat 5 fingering. So anyways, from that part to a major, throw an augmented here, and then a minor, and just a scale run. This is one of my favorite parts, these next 2 sections of this piece. So and then the next section. Then just hit those a little staccato to break up the flow. Okay, so that's the whole thing done slow. So let me talk about some specific parts of it now. So like one part that gave me trouble, and even though I wrote this, I still have to practice stuff. I still have trouble on sections and need to do repetitions too. So don't feel bad if you can't play this right away, because I couldn't either. Even though it originates from improvisation, I didn't tweak it and change it and speed it up and such. So these jumps are kind of tricky. And what I'd recommend, what I had to do myself, was isolate the picking, so you really got that down. It's basically just a down, up, up, down, up, up, up. So, because if you don't do that, when you're focused on the jumping, you might mess up your picking. I know sometimes I was doing that, so I had to really get comfortable with the picking, and then it's the same picking again there, and then put the 2 together up to speed. Always go slow too if you're making mistakes, and that's a good way to really reinforce the good habits. So if you make a mistake more than once, definitely slow down, do a few reps slow, and then try faster again. So another section I'm just going to point out is this one. So at this point I'm in the C minor position, so which is also the key of E flat major. what's kind of interesting here, I didn't plan this, but I think it's subconsciously, you know, when you've practiced that, it leads you into different directions. So something I noticed after I wrote this lick was that it's actually building up. So if I'm starting from here, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then the next lick, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So each new lick adds one more note in length, which I thought was just kind of interesting. Because again, I didn't plan that out. It just the way, that's how I came up with the lick. This next one, something that's kind of interesting about this is it really shows how the context affects how you hear a note. So a note's only good or bad depending on the context that's around it. So a note can sound resolved in one if it's in the key, and unresolved if it's outside the key, even if it's the exact same note. So for example, in this next lick, this E flat really sounds unresolved or discordant because of the A that came before it. So the note that comes before it usually will give you the sound of that. So that's a flat 5, so that sounds discordant. Then there's that E flat again, but it doesn't sound as discordant because the note before it, I'm creating a fifth to go down to instead of a flat fifth. If you do, you know, the fifth is going to sound more resolved. But also in the context of this, it's actually a major 7th arpeggio in the middle there. So I could think of this as the 5th again, but it's also 1, 3, 7 if I'm thinking of this as the root. Next section. So does that? So I slide up here. This could be the major 7th to this, or I could just think the arpeggio starting here. And this is where a lot of these arpeggios can be analyzed as different arpeggios depending on what note I consider it to be starting on. Is this the major 7th going to root, or was this part of the previous lick and the root is starting here? So either way. Now, if I'm thinking of this as the root, then this is my 3rd from that. Then coming up here, and this is where the A flat from the B. So I'm doing B and reaching up for A flat, that'd be like a 13 or 6. Now, I might consider this, by the time I put this note, as actually being an A flat minor arpeggio. You see, that's just A flat minor. So if I'm thinking of it as A flat, then it's going root to 5th, or if I'm thinking of B as a root, it's going to the major 3rd. But this is your E flat again. So if you listen to that note as I run through this, unresolved there, still a little bit unresolved there, exact same note but resolved there. So context is what makes a note sound good or bad. So just keep that in mind when you're playing, that there is no good or bad notes. It's what context you're putting it into. So let's take a look at this a little bit more detail. So on this, a lot of these shapes for arpeggios are combining multiple different triads. And you can download this for free or print it out on my Patreon page. Link is in the description. That's true of all my videos. So in some of these, what I do is, if it's doing 2 triads, I'll write the 2 triad names, and then over top of it, I'll write what it would make if you combine those 2 together. So you can either think of them as the bigger shape, like F minor add 9, or you can think of it as the smaller shape of whatever the triads are. Or it could even be a 7th arpeggio or something that's combined with something else. Anyways, work through it slow. I didn't put every accent in, but I did put some in that I thought were important, but kind of just listen to the video again if you want to get where I'm accenting or pausing. It's really important for the sound of something like this to get the dynamics right. You know, a lot of times when I'm playing this, I might be speeding up a little bit in some spots or slowing down, and that's what makes it sound not monotonous. You know, it's if you do everything like this, all even, it's not going to sound very interesting a lot of times. It's only when you put in those slight accelerations, pauses, accents and stuff that it then creates a musical quality. Anyways, hope you liked the video. Click like, subscribe, share, comment, any of that stuff. If you want to see more, please leave a comment, because mostly I do educational videos. I think this can be educational, but I tend to not do a lot of my original licks because I don't really know how much people are interested in them. But you can learn from them if you pull the ideas out of them. Anyways, thanks for watching.